How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Fourever Arsenal podcast. The regulars back in the building, James, Lee, and the return of Jordan after Curtis filled in for him last week. And it's dropped points. It's dropped points again. First drop points since the international break, since our, what you might call a mini revival now. And quite damning, I think. But we'll talk, well, you know what Fourever Arsenal's about, people. We're going to talk about it. We're going to delve into it. We're going to offer the different perspectives from the panel. And you're going to hit the like button, leave your comments, and obviously we're going to go through them too. But it is not smiles today. Welcome back, Jordan, Lee, James. I mean, we're recording this the morning after. You know, sometimes we do it the night of. Today is the morning after. So everyone's had a sleep. Maybe people have calmed down. Maybe people have stewed on it a bit more and have woke up even more frustrated than they felt having gone to sleep last night. Let's see how we're feeling, people. Let us know how you're feeling in the comment section below as well. Lee, James, Jordan. Damning result? Is it the nail in the coffin that we talked about in terms of any more drop points? The title will look too far for us to reach. Does it feel like that now, or does the draw feel like on to the next one, considering Liverpool have dropped points themselves last week? For me, it feels like back to square one, but that square is 9 points behind. I know they haven't played this weekend, but they still came out the weekend the winners, in my opinion. Chelsea obviously kept the heat on, but that heat, all right, they're 4 points. What are they, 4 points behind? They're 4 points behind.
Yeah, Chelsea now 4 points behind them.
Do you know how I'm about to make myself angry? We're behind Chelsea and Liverpool. Liverpool's one thing. We're behind Chelsea and Liverpool. Who would have thought it? A couple of years tussling with Man City at the top of the league. 15 games into this season, we're behind Liverpool and Chelsea. Crazy. Lee, you was at the game. As always, what was the feeling like heading into the game before the whistle, before the kickoff? Was it excitement? Was it nerves? How was everyone feeling?
Well, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, I was nervous. I felt that Liverpool not playing yesterday was a big thing, and I think that Arsenal needed to turn up, put in a performance, and put pressure on. Going to the game very, very nervous, not making no excuses. I look at the conditions were tricky, a little bit of a leveler, if I'll be honest, looking into it. I think that didn't help, if I'll be honest, but same for both teams, blah, 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 blah. Then when I see the team completely worried. And after the game, my worries were confirmed. And that's how I feel now. I'm not going to say we're out the title race because there's too many games to go, but I look at the performances. I hold my hands up on certain things. And now Mikel was becoming a problem. I had a massive argument with a couple of fans in a going to the game yesterday.
To the game?
Yeah, that wanted Mikel out, calling him names and things like that. And I'm there defending it. And then 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, the team sheet comes out and they're going, oh, that the fraud's done it again. And I can't have the word fraud. I can't have that word because of what he's done for us. But I'm starting now to not defend. I can't defend what's happening. And guys, don't kid yourself. I've heard people turn around after the game and say we played well. It was a good performance. It was far from a good performance. It was a team allowing us to have the ball, allowing us to do whatever we wanted to do. But when it really mattered, what chances did we create? How many saves under all that pressure did Leno have to have? We missed an open goal from a set piece. We never created nothing. And our near misses, where's our centre forward when it comes to near misses? The ball goes across the box. It's Declan Rice nearly getting to it. I'm not, I've been Kai Havertz's biggest fan. His last two games have been nothing short of shocking. He hasn't given the central defenders any problems whatsoever. Now, talking to someone inside the club yesterday after the game, turned around and said Kai Havertz is a fantastic footballer. works so very hard for the team, but he's not going to get you 20, 25 goals a season. That's coming from inside the club. And I'm going to hold my hands up on it. It's their fault to see yesterday. They're the games when you need something. And the lefts, we're playing completely down one side of football pitch. The left side yesterday, completely decimated by the manager, professional football club, people being paid thousands, millions of pounds, and your left side's got not one player that can kick the ball with his left foot. He's not a left footer in the side. You've got fullbacks, and you can make your choices on the fullback that you want to come in. People will argue with you that Tierney is not fit. I'll argue what's he doing on the bench. Doesn't rate him or whatever. He's got a young kid that he's brought on against Manchester City with 5 minutes to go, 10 men. Listen, I've got no problem with playing Thomas Partey at right back against Liverpool when you've got no choices. Had choices yesterday. And to do that, I can't defend that, guys. I can't defend it no more. I'm sorry. And I look at it and I have to say this. I have to say it. Jorginho didn't play bad, boys. I'm not criticising that part of it. It's just that defence yesterday, I think you can get away with it if you've got your two central defenders in there. But when you've got one player playing in his usual position. Now, I don't care what anybody says about Timber. There's been people arguing, right, that Timber has been better than Ben White. Is our best right back since Ben White. Unbelievable. It's like putting Saka and putting him at left back yesterday. Why don't you put Saka at left back? Oh, you can't do that. He's our best attacking player. You've just done it with our best defender. And I don't think there's no excuses for it. And I have to say, I think that result, and it's not the first time, is on Mikel. I watched that first half game, and Miles up in the northeast watching the Arsenal-Newcastle game. No difference, no change whatsoever, and Odegaard was playing in this game. So you can't even make that as an excuse no more. Poor performance. Now, I'm not going to go in it. There's still so many points to go and whatever. And listen, I'm not. When it comes to Mikel Arteta, he's got a lot of things right in his football club. Let's get it right as well. So I'm going to still stick up for him and keep going him. But questions are there now. When I look at Chelsea and I look at their midfield and I look at that left-hand side yesterday, they were in total disarray yesterday. And then Sancho, who's on loan, right, who they've got on loan to replace Sterling, does exactly what we need to do in a game of football. Take someone on the left-hand side and smash it in. We haven't got.
Very good point. I didn't even think it. Well, yeah.
We haven't even got. And I have to say, Jordan, I apologise. I had a goes at you about Martinelli. I have got no defence whatsoever now because we are dangerous at corners. Let's be honest. We are dangerous at corners. He did not once attack the byline. What happens when you hit the byline? One, you get a crossing. Two, you might get a corner. Never done it. And don't get me started on Trossard. He's out there for himself. Just a lovely little pass inside, and we got a shot at goal. What's he do? Tries and shoots through 6 players. I've had enough of him. I've had enough of him playing for himself. And I get it. I'm going to say, people will argue me. Mikel has created that situation between them two, and I think that he has. Because he's not swapping Sterling and Saka over every game, is he? But he is on that left-hand side. It's not working. Declan Rice thought he was our best player today, but keeps having to cut in on the left-hand side, boys. Played into their hands. It's not a tactical masterclass. If you're a decent man tactically, and he is, Silver, you can suss Arsenal out. sussed completely out yesterday and didn't deserve to win that game, didn't do enough to win that game, and that's the end of it. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like we've just lost a game of football yesterday, and we haven't, but that's how it feels, and that's what the position we've been put in.
Jordan.
Can I pick up Turkish? Yeah, because I was at the game yesterday as well. And I think Lee's pertinent point about the left-hand side is really, really pertinent. I don't attribute as much blame to Arteta as I think Lee does, but let's chat about Arteta shortly because we've got to have a chat about Mikel Arteta. But I'm watching that game and let's start with Trossard. I just can't with Trossard starting anymore. I'm sorry, I've been on his back all season in terms of starting. I just don't get anything from him. We don't get anything from him. And what happens is it makes the responsibility on Saka and Odegaard, they've got so much more pressure on their shoulders to produce magic because we get so little from our left-hand side. Now, we can talk about tactically and the formation and the lineup on the left-hand side. We can get to that, and that's been an issue for maybe a while. But Trossard just doesn't give us anything. Yesterday, I thought he wasn't even bad. He was just anonymous. Didn't do anything. Just doesn't do anything. And you add to the fact that, as Lee said, he's so greedy. He's so greedy. It's just infuriating. Now, let's get on to the flirter, right? Because Lee's mentioned him there. I said 2 years ago when he was playing well that I wasn't quite convinced about him. And people think I'm a contrarian, that I like to just dig out players. I don't support my own players. Listen, I want Arsenal to win the Premier League title. I've seen it 3 times. I know how it feels. I want all my boys in this squad to do well, but I can't be blinded to things that I see. Martinelli has talent, but he needs coaching. He really needs coaching. I said 2 years ago, his decision-making is so bad. It's so bad. He touches, and then, as Lee says, comes inside, passes it, gives it away. Anybody can do that. You're the quickest player on the pitch. Run your man. And as Lee says, worst case, you get a corner kick. You get a corner, worst case. My other issue with him was in injury time, right? He's trying to get a Fulham player booked, right?
With 20 seconds.
For not Turkish.
I was fuming. I was fuming. Referee should have given a foul. Referee should have given a foul throw for that and probably give him a yellow card. It was so.
Oh my God!
I was looking at it like, what are you doing? What Brazilian in the last 20 seconds decides, let me try and win a yellow card for my team and a Brazilian on top of everything?
Best case. In that scenario, and this goes to decision making, best case, you get the Fulham guy booked. Worst case, which is what actually happened, you use up 30 seconds when we've only got a minute left. What are you doing? What are you doing? Now, the disallowed goal. I mean, Paul Merson described it in terms of football, in football parlance, as criminal. It's worse than criminal. Paul Merson was being kind. How can you be on the far end and not see the line? It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. I couldn't believe it. And to the point where if I'm in that dressing room, I'm sticking it on him. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's so bad. And I just think I don't want to come on here and chat rubbish and say that he's crap. He's not crap. But for 2 years now, he's been poor. Last year, I gave him a slight pass because of the injuries. I gave him a slight pass. I'm not giving him a pass anymore. We need to upgrade on the left-hand side. I don't care if it's him or Trossard. They need to be our second choice left winger. I said this in the summer, by the way, as well. Yeah? His decision-making is so bad. It's really killing us. And it means Saka has to produce magic every game. He can't do it every game. And my final point in terms of personnel is Jesus. I wasn't going to dig out Jesus again because I'm kind of done with Jesus. But again, people like Jesus and Havertz, they will break your heart. They are good players. But they're not the guys that are going to get you the goals that you need when it really matters. I remember in the first 6 months of Jesus' time at Arsenal, we were all praising him. He started really well at Arsenal. And even then I said, I'm looking to February, March. This guy ain't the guy. He ain't the guy when it really matters. And he got injured that season, so we'll never know what would have happened. But these guys are not serious gunmen. They're just not. They're good players. Good flicks, step overs, good movement. All that is amazing. But when it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net, these guys will break your heart. I could say so much more, but let me just give James the floor. But I wanted to flag that left-hand side because it's so evident. I was at the United game as well. It's so evident the pressure put on Odegaard and Saka is just, it's unfair. It's actually unfair.
Hello, everyone.
Morning.
We're all getting a lot off our chest, and I've been writing down things that you've all been saying because I want to sort of pick up on a lot of it. I'm going to start with the Martinelli thing quickly because I really want to start by saying that, listen, he wasn't the worst player on the pitch. He came on and he, for me, he did try and make things happen, but for a few centimetres, almost had the moment of the game. But I want to say because I tweeted that it was a Martinelli disaster class, and then I spent quite a bit of my fan cam speaking on him, and it might feel really unfair. I can imagine him maybe looking at all the reaction out there. If he does, and maybe he doesn't, and fair play if he doesn't. But if he was, I could imagine him thinking like, "What's everyone got in for me for? Trossard did nothing, and Saka wasn't great on the day, and that would be right." But
it wouldn't be right if he thinks that bounce. If you think like that, bounce. But sorry.
Okay, fine. But my point is, and people really got onto me on Twitter for digging him out a little bit. And the reason I did was, firstly, is there anyone on this panel that's defended Martinelli more than me this season? How much have I talked about work rate and defensive positioning and all that, right? So I tried to give him the credit where he deserves it. The reason his cameo in particular wound me up so much was because of the petulant yellow card when the ball clearly went off him and he just smashed the ball into the ground and picked himself up a yellow for nothing. And then he tried to get the player booked in the end and got in a bit of a tussle there, whatever the hell that was all about. And then the really lazy offside, and then essentially trying a lot of the same stuff. So it was just a particularly frustrating. He was not the worst player on the pitch, but it was just watching it in that particular moment we needed something. It made my head explode. So I just wanted to explain that because we've got so many other players we could and should talk about, but from almost like an attitude perspective, he wound me up the most. And I came to the conclusion yesterday, as I did with a lot of players, and we're going to get to them now, that players I thought were teetering on, but they can be the starting guy for Arsenal for where we want to be. I decided him amongst others weren't from yesterday's performance. And ultimately building up to this, I kind of got to that point yesterday. But he wasn't the worst, and he always leaves it all out there, and I love the guy, but I just wanted to try and explain why that was so frustrating for me and others, because there was a pile on him yesterday. Online, the online world really had it in for Martinelli. I'm not really sure that's completely fair, but I can understand why that cameo really wound up fans. Let's put that to the side now.
James,
I've written down from what... go on, please.
I've seen loads of criticism saying it's down to Martinelli that we lost that game. It wasn't down to him yesterday. He was bad, and I'll get him there. But people are not blaming the person they should be blaming and misses an open goal. And he never missed an open goal yesterday. Not done it once, done it twice. So, sorry, just go. Yeah, he was bad, but I can't believe it's all down to Martinelli that we lost that game yesterday.
No. I totally agree with you, Lee. But do you see what I mean by like it was the nature of the cameo?
100%.
It was
100%
a lot of
cumulative. It was a cumulative.
Yeah,
it was a cumulative.
I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
The petulance really got under my skin. The minute I saw him throw that ball to the ground, I went, "Oh no,
unnecessary.
Like, we need to keep our heads here. 10, 15 minutes to go, and then throwing it at Teta and all that. I was just like, oh god, and the offside, it is really bad. You do just have to be looking along the line, but then he is a few centimeters, like I said, from delivering an unbelievable cross that could have won us the game. So whatever, that's all I say on Martinelli. People really got on me.
Just another thing, James. Can I just say this? Right, Paul Merson. Gets. I love him, but he got on my nerves yesterday. We've seen along the line. It's a Nats Willie. It's a fingernail. right, from being offside. It's 10 years ago or 5 years ago, you got away with that. Paul Merson would have got away with that on many occasions. Many occasions. It's only because of VAR that goal's not given. So there's plenty of players out there that have done that and got away with it. But because the margins now are so
sorry,
tight.
Lee. Sorry, Lee. I know James is kind of mid flow as
No,
well,
no,
but
carry on.
it's not the first time he's done that. He's quite lazy often with the line. It's not the first time.
Come on,
and as a
I
winger,
get that, but it's not like he's a yard offside. It's so
I get what you're
minimal.
both saying. I agree with you both.
I think it's unforgivable.
It's not criminal.
Fair
It's not
enough.
criminal.
I think it is.
It's not criminal to be a toenail offside. It isn't. If you play football, you know what I mean? Like, you cannot look down the line and go, I'll tell you what, I'm a toenail off. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? I get it if he was a yard offside or whatever, I'm with you. And there's been plenty of times in football that you've seen that.
Well, possibly we're disagreeing on the distance of how much was offside. I think it's probably less than a yard, but it's more than a toenail. I think it's enough that he should be able to read that. I think it's enough that he should be able to read that. In my view.
Well, when they did the still before drawing the lines, I knew immediately he was offside.
Yeah. But they're drawing lines, aren't they? It's not like, they're drawing lines to see he's offside.
Well,
but at the end of the day, he's not.
I'm not sure.
He's not miles offside where you look at it and go, Jesus Christ, that's poor. I play football when you see people doing that's poor. But I don't think you can go on down that route. But listen,
Okay.
I'm free to.
Yeah, no, I get what you're both saying. So anyway, he's a very honest, hard-working player, but it was a bad one for him yesterday. So on to the other things you guys mentioned. I obviously uploaded my kind of match report, which ended up just being a big old match rant that was on the Goonverse. And the quote I went with was basically, I'm bored. And I wasn't bored in terms of like our football or whatever. I mean, first half for sure. But let me just write down I've written down some things that you mentioned, Lee. So Arteta's decisions with the 11 and messing around with the team, pulling apart our best midfielder this season to chuck him to right back, disrupting the dynamics of our right back and right hand side with Timber to move him to left back because of the injuries. Now, look, what I will say is White, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, I'm not going to go through them, but 5 first teamers out in the back 4. You're probably going to have to do something. I still think Arteta could have gone with other solutions. We didn't play great. You say we didn't deserve to win the game. Many will probably agree with you. Yet Thomas Partey missed an unbelievable chance. Jesus was through on goal. Jesus had to just stick a foot out, take a touch, and he's in. Kai Havertz turned and had the goal facing him. And it was one of the most pathetic efforts on goal I've ever seen. I thought he was appalling yesterday. And that brings me on to the third point, that Havertz, is he good enough? Is Jesus good enough? Is one of them going to be good enough? Who's the guy? I've then got the lack of investment in forwards. You're right, what Jadon Sancho did. And look at the players they had on that pitch, Chelsea. Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer, and they've got Felix, they've got Nkunku. The whole Martinelli or Trossard debate, who starts, who's on the bench, who makes an impact, whatever. And then the last point I've got here is what's Rice's best position. We talk about this world-class ball-winning, midfield destroyer, number 6, and we're chucking him out to kind of the left 8, trying to move forward, trying to cut inside. Anyway, I wrote all those down from things you said because my big takeaway from yesterday was that I'm so bored of the same conversations and the same problems being our Achilles heel. Every single game, every single day, it doesn't go right for us. We're talking about the same things. Arteta did this and that's why we didn't find our rhythm. But at the same time, if our players could actually finish and not miss really good chances or really good moments, well, we probably would have got away with it and won the game maybe. Well, Martinelli, Trossard should start this game because Martinelli wasn't great against Man United. And then spending the whole first hour going, get Martinelli on the pitch because he'd punish Fulham. And then I'm watching him go, oh my God, he didn't punish Fulham. And then I'm watching Havertz going, oh, Havertz isn't in the game. We need Jesus because he'll get in that space, he'll link up. And then Jesus gets on and he doesn't do anything. And I'm going, oh, we should have kept Havertz on for the crosses. And the reality is none of it's good enough.
It's all bollocks.
And that's the big thing I came to yesterday, guys. I remember having a debate a while, maybe a month ago, saying I can't say that I don't know that this isn't good enough or that isn't good enough because Arteta hasn't given it enough time or because Arteta messes with it. And I've ultimately come to the conclusion that we are a very good side. We're very well coached, but there's fundamentally too many things about this Arsenal team that are not on title winning level. That's where I am.
James, just before Turkish comes,
yeah.
I've got to make a point. Sorry, but like, you know, about Mikel and one of my mates who's knocked Mikel out phoned me yesterday and said, I think the other guys are right. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, like, you know, we're not doing well yesterday. He doesn't change things. Why can't he bring Odegaard out to the left-hand side to try and help that out? Why can't he do that? Why doesn't he vary something a little bit different? The things are not working on the left-hand side. You've got, you know, put him out there. And I said, yeah. And another thing he said, it's not working between Saka and Martinelli. Swap them over. Why ain't he doing things like that? And I get that. I actually, listening to it yesterday, I actually agreed with what he was saying. I said, I don't know why, I can't explain that. And they're the little things that people are now starting to get, because you're right, what you're saying it is born, because when we don't get the right result, this is what we're coming up with, the same answers all the time.
Same problems.
And now Turkish is going to come
every single week, and I'm bored of it. I'm just like, I'm bored of trying to convince myself that well, Jesus would have done something that Havertz didn't.
No.
But the reality is he wouldn't have. And then me going in on Martinelli, because I'm sitting there going, oh, we should have bring Martinelli on. And he does nothing, and I'm tearing my hair out. And it's not
because you're doing the same things. You bring Jesus on to do. It's not changing the dynamics of the game or the team. And the other thing is, Havertz should have the header. You know what I mean? Like for the goal, it's a free header. And it's going wide into. I don't know.
It's a terrible finish.
It's a terrible finish. You know what I mean? Like it's a free header from 5 yards, and if Saliba isn't there, it's not a goal. And the other thing is, now we're going to get Turkish coming, and I'm not having a go at Turkish when we say it. He's going to come in there and say, "I've told you so. We ain't good enough." And you've got to hold your hands up. You've got to hold your hands up.
I can't say anything. Sorry, it's Turkish.
Off you go.
Yours. The final thing I'll say that sums up my point completely.
Off you go.
Someone I was speaking to yesterday said, "Why doesn't he give? What does Sterling have to do?" And that sentence made me think, "Oh fuck," because it wouldn't have been any different.
He hasn't looked
but it's just the next piece and the next part and the next who's next on the conveyor belt of we'll try this. Carry on. Go on, Turkish.
If you're tired of
28 minutes in,
I did pipe up a couple of times, but apologies. If you're tired, James, imagine how I feel, man. Because if some of these players have been jarring me for a while, and that includes people might, think he's talking about Havertz again. I am, but I'm also talking about a man that I backed for years, Martinelli. But I'm going to start with Mikel, because you lot have mentioned chopping up the left-hand side. When I saw the lineup, I thought, why are you chopping up the right-hand side? Yeah. Timber's been so important to our attack since the international break, as important as Odegaard and Saka on that side. He's the one that takes attention away from them, picks up good pockets of space in the box. He's the one creating triangles there. All of a sudden, you've moved him out. Why? Because Zinchenko's injured. The same Zinchenko that you brought Lewis Skelly on ahead of against Liverpool at home. You brought Lewis Skelly on against Man City. Lewis Skelly come on against the two best clubs in this league over the last few years. But when it comes to starting against a Fulham side where, all right, Adama Traore would have been a handful. He's a handful for every defender. Whether it's Lewis Skelly, Zinchenko, Tierney, Calafiori, he would have been a handful for anyone. I just don't understand how you so easily just take something that's working so well and change it up. When you've shown faith in a Lewis Skelly in bigger games, higher pressure moments, when you need to protect the lead, 15 minutes to go with 10 men at Etihad. But you can't start him against Fulham to keep that right-hand side ticking. So that was the first thing for me. The second thing is Marino. What? You've moved our best centre mid out of the midfield to put on as right back. And this ain't against Jorginho for me. This is more for you've signed the midfielder in the summer. You don't put him in his position when you can actually put Rice in the 6 and him in the 8. What are you doing? Forget Sterling for a sec, who we know what it is with Sterling. It was nonsense. It was just a deadline day. Here you go, whatever. We know what that was now. But Marino? Yeah. What is actually going on? And then we go to the issue on the left-hand side, Martinelli. I've backed Martinelli so much over the years. Not as much as James this season, because I'm increasingly frustrated with his performances. He's now 18 months into this form. This is him now. It's not. Will he turn the corner again? It's not. This is him, and it's so frustrating to watch him because being offside is not criminal, but his performances are criminal. He's so basic. He is so basic that the defenders know exactly. We know what he's gonna do. And don't get me twisted, that ball into the box was great, but he had about 7, 8, 9 opportunities before that to do something and did nothing with it. Absolutely nothing. Now, it might be harsh to look at him here, but how many times has the other guy on the other side saved us in Saka? How many times has Odegaard saved us? Yes, they didn't have the best of games, but those are the times that you, Martinelli, need to step up, or you, Kai Havertz, need to step up when they're not doing what we were used to them doing, which is a handful of times a season. So step up a handful of times, for fuck's sake. Don't act petulant, throw the ball away, and then try and win a yellow card for the opposition with 20 seconds to go. Embarrassing. Especially as a Brazilian winger. That is Tony Pulis 101. He might actually belong in that Stoke side. Because I don't understand the mentality with 20 seconds to go. You want to foul. You're so intent and so frustrated and petulant. You've done a foul throw into the back of his head. And then it calms the game down. The last minute just go by with no threat. And Kai Havertz, I mean, I'm done talking about that guy. I'd rather the comment section talk about that guy. Because Solanke at Tottenham, they're vexed with his output. They paid 65 million for him. He scored his 5th goal of the season against Chelsea, and they're not happy with him. But guess how many goals Kai's got? 5. And are we singing 60 million down the drain anymore? Have we realised it really is down the drain? Has that realisation kicked in yet? Because it's not on Kai. We bought him as a midfielder, Mikel. It didn't work. You moved him up front. But why is the stopgaps over the last 18 months all of a sudden finding their way into starting 11 conversations? Trossard was a stopgap because we couldn't get the 100 million winger he wanted. So we got the cheaper one, stopgap. 18 months later, starting games. And we're asking for it because we haven't improved that side. Jorginho, stopgap. Really and truly, he shouldn't be at the club anymore because it should have been a year or so deal. Then we improve that position. The stopgap become more and more important. How do we expect... Like I said, I'm looking up to Chelsea and Liverpool now. Liverpool's one thing. Liverpool have great players. Arteta couldn't beat Arne Slot this season. And he also didn't beat Maresca. 2 new managers in the league. I'm sorry, when Pep faced up against new managers, he more often than not wiping the floor with them. Klopp too. Arteta in the first season of we've got to win it, because last season was the first season of expectation where we've got a challenge to game week 38. This season is the one we've got to win it. He's tripping up against new managers in the league. He's behind. He's so far, or I say he, whatever you want to. We are so far behind Liverpool. It's 6 points with Liverpool. I'm seeing it as 9. And people shouldn't hold that against me because I'm seeing it as 9. You might see it as 6 with a game in hand. It's not points on the board. I get that. But Liverpool won this weekend. Does everyone get that? They won without playing because Man City didn't do their job and we failed to even capitalise on Man. We could have gone 5 clear on Man City this weekend. Forget the catching up to Liverpool.
On that Turkish, sorry, I know you're mid-flow, but us drawing, we've actually dragged Man City back into the race. I think if we'd have won yesterday, I think that definitely buries City. But actually, with us drawing, it keeps City on the periphery. Sorry,
I think Arsenal and City's race ended this weekend.
I tend to agree.
Anyway, I think these 2 results were the ones. Liverpool didn't even kick a ball, and neither of us could do anything. Chelsea came from 2-0 down at Tottenham, and they've closed it to 4, albeit with a game in hand for Liverpool. That was the statement result. I think Arsenal City will be really.
Where's the fight? Where's the fight? Like, you know that Liverpool haven't played. You know you can cut it to 4. You know, forget the first 70 minutes, let's say. It's 1-1. 20 minutes to go. You know this. Didn't we talk about cup finals not long ago? We've left ourselves in a position where it's 20 cup finals, 22 cup finals. Did that look like a performance in a cup final to you when the reality is did we throw the kitchen sink at Fulham?
No, I agree. But Turkish actually
sorry, James. Before you come in, We never throw the kitchen sink at teams because Arteta is so methodical up until the last 10 fucking seconds of the game. You've got a tall target man like Havertz. How about the last 10 minutes you just chuck him in that box and let's just get it in there and have the little players work off him? Let's just go old school. But no, it might not work, but let's try something different. Try something different.
On that point, sorry, just quickly, Jane, before you come in. On that point, though, to be fair to Arteta, we've actually scored a lot of late goals by playing the way that he likes to play. So I know fans like to say sometimes chuck it in the mixer. Fine, that may yield some goals, but we have scored in the last couple of years quite a lot of late goals by playing.
But you know, you can't rely upon that. Like, we're talking about Reece Nelson, Bournemouth, and we're talking about, we can't rely upon, you know, we shouldn't be relying upon that, just that. We should have different facets to this. Come back to the lack of options in attack, because James is right. Jesus ain't good enough either. So you bring Jesus on, or you start Jesus, or you start Trossard, or you start Martinelli. It's all nonsense. There's going to be deficiencies throughout, whether it's a aerial duel winning deficiency or a corner winning ability deficiency. I don't know. These players are doing everything but what they should be doing. And like as a fan base now, we have to understand that these 60 million down the drains and all this, the club feeds off this too. This Martinelli is our guy, 23 years old. Fuck all that. This is top level sport. This ain't a creche. This ain't a pen pal club. This is football at the highest level. If you want to win the majors, you cannot act like some of these players are your son or your dad or your brother. You cannot act like this shit don't stink sometimes, because this club has taken the piss when fans have over-supported. And yes, it sounds fucked. Over-support? How can you over-support? Support is a wonderful thing. It is. But when the people in charge of the club look at it strictly as business, your support is their custom. You are a customer to them. So if you're singing and dancing about 60 million down the drain at the end of the season, and Kai is in a great mood with donkeys and whatnot, best believe they can keep him on next season as striker, because the fans loved it. The fans are singing about it. There's some accountability now moving forward, because this is unacceptable now. We need to be winning stuff now. 5 years in, and I like Mikel. I think he is going to be a great manager, whether it's here or somewhere else now. But it's too many times we've talked about this. As Havertz all of a sudden in midfield against Villa towards the end of last season, he just does things sometimes that you think, brother, what are you doing? Because like I said before, 10 games can build their fear factor, 2 games can just throw it out the window.
Do you know, James makes a great point. And I don't know if it's over yet, but he does make a great point. I think yesterday was a telling statement, or the weekend was a telling statement. Liverpool not playing. Let's see what you've got about you. And I think Manchester City and Arsenal failed completely yesterday. Chelsea didn't. Chelsea said, you know what, we might be a little bit naive than you, but we're ready for this. I thought the other two petted out. Another thing that you have to say, I'm fed up with playing one half. I believe the game's 90 minutes and we're playing 45 minutes. And Havertz yesterday, and I'm a big fan. You know I'm a big fan. I'll stick up for him as much as I can. I see a centre forward yesterday, pin our centre halves, give them... I didn't see him do any of that. He normally does that, by the way. Where was his physical presence yesterday? It wasn't there. And it wasn't there, and it's when it matters. It was that game yesterday was, for me, I was nervous yesterday because I know how big and important this was, right? And it was massive. And I'm going to say something else now, completely off track and all that, but I went after the game yesterday. Do you know, Fulham players come out after the game, talk to fans. And Wobie come out yesterday. Bassi come out like having all photos, talking to players, like, you know what I mean? Our players you can't get near. Got security all around them and everything like that, like, you know, and they're coming out. Away from the things, just coming in and having photos done, talking to the fans. It's different football clubs, I know, but I'm looking at that and going, wow. And you know, we've got to have all this what we've got, but you can't. Don't you dare go near one of these places. There's about 8 security guys round. You can't even go. Oh, hello. You know what I mean? Like the club.
Would they have done that if they lost 5-0 though? Is my question.
I don't know.
Maybe they would.
Apparently, someone says they come out every game.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I can believe that as well. I can believe that.
It was lovely. I had a chat with Reece Nelson yesterday, and yeah, I know it's different. It's a different level of football club. I get that, but you know,
some of these players would be very comfy at Fulham, like a Kai Havertz, like a Zinchenko, like a Trossard.
I get that,
like a Martinelli. I mean, but I know what you're saying about different club, but some of our players shouldn't think that they're above a Fulham.
No, that's what I'm saying. I do we think that we are above what we really are? That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, you know what I mean? Like that.
Well, we're above Fulham for in terms of stature for sure. But I think the point is relevant that you and Turkish make there. It's the reason why I get so angry when people say, "Look at Emile Smith-Rowe. He's doing really well at Fulham." There's a reason Smith-Rowe's doing well at Fulham. There's levels. There's levels. Some can handle the pressure at a club like Arsenal and delivering a Prem, and some can't. It's not that Emile Smith-Rowe isn't a really good player, but there's levels.
There's a different pressure on that game yesterday.
And of course there is. So let's stop put.
That's my point. And there's too many Arsenal players failing at that level.
Well, also, you mentioned, sorry, Turkish, you mentioned fight earlier. And I think it's very rare this Arsenal team don't show some sort of fight, like in terms of putting themselves about, whatever. I'd really like for once some quality to come through. I know we got it set pieces. The delivery once again yesterday was brilliant. So cool. All right, there's a bit of quality. But like someone, I think I was chatting to Cass, and he was saying like, look what Salah did and I know Salah's. I know I'm talking about a Premier League great, right? But at Newcastle, back to goal, ball slightly behind him, touch, swivel turn, bang, 3-2 up. I don't need that. But when Kai Havertz, well, I love that, but quite difficult to find. It's a once in a generation talent. But when Kai Havertz, is put through, Odegaard didn't really do a lot. He played a lovely ball into Havertz where he was able to look up goals in front of him. What the fuck was that shot? I mean, it was pathetic.
Yeah.
It was like a real Partey in all the space in the world. You missed the one against Man United. It proved not to be all the space in the world. And you know what? He goes for the difficult corner. We've got to redirect the ball away from you into the smallest area, as opposed to the other corner where there's more space and you're sending the ball back the way it came. Appalling miss. Gabby Jesus. Rice has actually, I thought, did come to life in that second half a bit more, like he did United. Scoops a lovely ball over the top to Jesus. I'll say it. He bottled it.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go in. He thought Leonard was going to come and clatter him.
Get rid of him in January. Get rid of him in January because listen, as much as I say working hard and giving all should be a given, when you see it's not, get rid. He's also on 250 bags as well. You don't want to give that extra yard for a pass. You actually might get on the end of. Fuck off.
500.
He ain't the only one that goes. He ain't the only one that goes.
You're not wrong.
Absolutely.
One game. One starts in the last don't know how many weeks, and he then can't be available for the next one. Gone.
Yeah, you know what? I hear it, Liz.
Out. You play one game and you can't make the next game. See you later.
Sorry, who's this? Sorry,
Zinchenko. He hasn't started a game for I don't know. It's his first start, and he can't play the next game. I'm done.
You don't know my thoughts on Zinchenko.
They're done now. He's done. I'll tell you another one that's done. Get rid of him. I don't want to see him at this football club again. It's Tomiyasu. I want him gone. I want him gone. I don't want these players that are not available all the time, because it's killing us. It is killing us. The reason we're having to play Thomas Partey at right back is because we haven't got players available week in, week out. And not only that, when they're not even playing. I get it if he's played 6 or 7 games. I ain't going to have a go at Gabriel. He's played so many games. He's injured. It happens. But when you play one game and then you can't play the next game, what are we dealing with here? We're supposed to be this elite club that's going for the title when we've got players that break down after one game, or players. Tommy Asu's played 6 minutes of this season. We're now coming up to Christmas. And it's not like he's been out, he's played every game. This has been going on for 3 years. This has been happening since I don't know when. When you need him, when Saliba gets injured in a title-winning top, where is it? He gets injured. Okay, I let that one go, but it continuously keeps happening. And
I want to say that. Sorry, Lee.
I've had enough of it.
Point there. I know, and I want to add to that like what we're talking about here is the football club. And yeah, look, I'm not the advert for this because I've probably made a lot of the excuses myself, but it's the football club really starting to get ruthless and going, we know that Tomiyasu, Zinchenko and all these players, that they want to be fit, they want to be available and play. But you've got to look at it and go, okay, but you're not, and you can't. And we know that you want to be out there. We know that this is probably the people probably suffering the most are those players. Like Tomiyasu, it probably doesn't hurt anyone more than him that he can't get on that pitch. He's the one who's got to do the rehab to get fit. He's the one that knows that, without even kicking a ball, he's being judged immensely. Like these players will want to be on that pitch, but it is a point where you've got to get ruthless. We are at that point now where it's like Jesus or Havertz. Pick the one that's going to be your squad player to play your cup games or whatever and just be there because they can do a job sometimes, like Jesus did against Forest, like Havertz has done on occasion, and then go get a guy that you really want at the heart of your team, down the middle, up front, leading the line, 35, 34 games a season in a bid to win the Premier League title. Find that guy. Martinelli leaves it all out there, probably more than any other player on the pitch. He leaves it all out there, but it's about being ruthless and going, we know you're doing everything to be that guy, but you're probably not. Trossard, the moments and whatever, but you're not. And I think it's taken me a long time because I always felt that Havertz's run in the title run in, Martinelli in 22-23, Trossard in big games. I always felt these were like harness the good of those things and make it a bigger thing, make it stretch over 15, 20, 30 games, find a consistency in that. But there's a quality and consistency. It's why Salah at 8 seasons, people will go prime Salah, but it's consistency. It's why I love Saka. It's why Saka wasn't great yesterday, but we don't talk about it because this guy, he doesn't deliver 1 in 10 games. Other players aren't delivering 6 in 10 games.
And by the way, he wasn't brilliant yesterday, James, and yet he still contributed enough moments, as you're saying,
Absolutely.
to be like, you know what, it was one of your better games, but he wasn't. There's 5 players at least I could name who would perform worse than he did, as well as credit in the bank. Can I just rattle through just a very few quick points, Turkish, on the striker thing as well? That Isak goal that he scored for Newcastle on the weekend, we never scored that kind of goal. That's the sort of goal that I want us to score. I don't know if you remember it, the header. We never scored that sort of goal. We need a striker that can score that sort of goal.
Wait, last 2 goals. Goal against Liverpool as well. When have you last seen us score a goal like that?
Yeah, I mean, those are more anomalies. Those are bangers. But I mean, just a bread and butter.
I like a banger. I like a banger every once in a while.
I like a banger as well. We do score some pretty goals. I'm chatting about your bread and butters. I watched the game yesterday and I was there. Havertz is on the wing. He's in midfield. It's like, bro, just go up top. That's my point on the striker thing. Chelsea. And I watched the pod last week, guys. Great pod, apart from Lee digging me out a couple of times. I saw you. But really, really good pod, guys. You were chatting about Chelsea being in a title race. And I get why the weekend might make my next statement just look and sound completely stupid. I'm not taking Chelsea as serious title contenders. I think when it gets to the real business part of the season, I think us and City will rise above them. I don't think they're quite ready yet. The defence isn't particularly impressive. Their goalkeeper is going to throw a few in. He's not very good. So whilst Chelsea are on form right now and they're scoring goals, the squad's buff, everything's great, I do think we'll finish above Chelsea as we should. But let's see. So I'm not really too concerned about Chelsea at this point in time. My bigger concern is Liverpool being given a procession.
But I don't give a fuck if we finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th at this point.
Agree.
None of that. You know, Chelsea, it doesn't matter. Finish, win the fucking league now.
I'm with you. I'm just saying there's a lot of talk right now about Chelsea being in this title race and Chelsea being contenders. I'm not looking at Chelsea like that. And then the other thing is whether is our title credentials, because a lot of the talk now is, are we out of the race? I mean, I think we're in the territory now whereby, is it 25 games left? I don't know how many games we've got left this season.
23.
23. We probably now, if Liverpool, all right, drop a few points, but carry on with their trajectory, we probably now have to win 21 of those 23. We've got to win almost 90% of our games. The room for error is probably gone. We now have to go on a run where we probably have to win every single game, right? That's not going to happen. So when people talk about, are we in the race? Are we out of the race? Look at the maths and look at the probabilities. We have to do something that's almost perfect. So now we're going to a place where we have to now try and get as close to Liverpool in second as possible to make it marginally respectable. Do you finish second, 10 points off Liverpool? Or do you finish second, 4 points off Liverpool? Look, either way, second is second. We were looking at first. But all this title contending talk for me, it's all hope. It's people that have hope. That we've got to believe. That's fine. But in your footballing rationale,
It's not fine when they never ever admit. They go from one believe to another believe, then the next believe, and then another fucking believe. They never actually look in the mirror and say, you know what? Where the fuck has believing?
Be real.
Where the
I'm with you, but sorry, Lee, before you come in, what I would say is though, what I've come to understand is you just got to let Arsenal fans back their team how they want to do
100%.
it. And it's not delusion. It's not delusion. I've stopped calling it delusion. For me, the reality is that this team is not ready. And all the evidence in front of us suggests we are not lifting the title in May. That's what the evidence in front of us suggests. If we win it, hands up, happy days. But those that want to still believe, and I don't say believe in that way to rip Robbie. This is not there's lots of people that are on this whole, you've got to still hope, you've got to still believe. There's lots of fans like that. That's fine. That is fine. But me personally as an Arsenal fan, if you're asking me, are we going to win this Premier League title in May? The evidence in front of us suggests it's not going to happen this year. Give me the Champions League. I want the Champions League. That's my focus now.
Everyone talks about it from a points perspective. So I just had a look at, you said win 21 games. If we do that, then we're hitting minimum 92. So, okay, yeah, that I think that would probably win you the title. But my thing is like, the reason, listen, Liverpool for me, yeah, are probably catchable, and Chelsea certainly are. They're brilliant. My thing is though, like, we're not demonstrating the quality whatsoever.
Yeah.
I used the word quality earlier. Like when people kept
unlucky.
saying, and when people kept saying like, okay, I agree. If Arne Slot walks into this league and the one season City aren't great, he strolls to the title. It's an embarrassing look. It's a bad look. I completely agree with that. But what isn't surprising to me is that Alisson, Van Dijk, and Mo Salah are players in a title-winning side. Like, we're talking about probably the best centre-back in the league. I put Saliba up there as well. You got Mo Salah, who's one of the killers of the Premier League. I put Erling Haaland up there. And Alisson's certainly one of the best goalkeepers in the league. And then, of course, they've got lots of quality. So my thing is that Liverpool, I look at them, I'm like, they've got the quality to do it. So even if they went through a bad patch, I'm looking at them going, look at the quality that they have got. Like, in decisive quality in both boxes. And I'm at the point where it's like, we can amount a points tally. We can go on a run. We can, we can hit an 87, 88 points tally. I still think we're capable of that this season. But the quality's just not there for me to think that, like, to feel really confident we're going to do it. I'm hopeful. It's possible. But, like, yeah, we're going to do it. We don't have enough quality. We don't have enough, like, for all the money spent. We don't have enough, like, actual, like, real ballers.
I think the quality. I think the quality is there. I think the bigger issue is pressure.
No killers.
I just don't think these players.
No killers though, Jordan. No killers.
No, I agree with that too. I agree with that too. Up top, we're not scary. We said that pre-season. Our attack.
Didn't Arteta once say we need to get better in both boxes?
Yes.
And then he left us with Kai Havertz, who he tells get out of the box to fucking make it make sense. Make that make sense. Somebody out there that believes, eats fucking rainbows and shits golden nuggets. Someone tell me, better in both boxes. How do we leave ourselves with this attack this season? How?
Turkish, he contradicts a lot of what he says. He said in pre-season that he talks about not liking to break dynamics and playing players in certain positions because he doesn't want to break things that are going really well, but we can just chuck Timber left back. I made a suggestion, I tweeted it. That same back four could have been Partey at right back with Timber, Saliba, Kivior at left back.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, at least you still had a left footer at left back who played that position in the run-in really well last season. And therefore, look, I think Lewis Skelly could have played. I think Tierney could have played. Hell, you could have put Marino left back and asked him to invert. You could have done a lot that didn't disrupt what Partey had to do, Timber's role, in my opinion. But at least you could have maybe done that because Kivior, albeit very good against Man United, I gave him all the flowers for that. That's probably a more balanced 11 in terms of the fact that you need to invert Partey or do whatever. So he does that. He contradicts quite a lot of what he says. He contradicts quite a lot of what actually he's typically done really well. Like have Havertz in the running and then, actually, I'm going to need you in midfield for this one against Villa. Oh, no, we've dropped points.
He gets carried away with these things, though, innit? Like, all right, mate, you figured it out, so something hasn't worked, you figured it out. But why do you keep it running till the wheels fall off? Surely you knew that Havertz isn't a striker. Surely you knew that you put him there and it's worked better than him as a midfielder. Surely you knew that.
Which is why Lee's point at the start of this podcast with Arteta regarding backing him because he got it wrong yesterday is really pertinent as well, because there's so many games I could point to this season where he's done things tactically that have benefited us, and you're like, you know what, hands up, that I didn't see that coming. He's done well. But then he'll undo it the following week or 2 weeks later.
Yeah, exactly.
By doing a madness.
Exactly.
It's like bro,
it's like
you
the
got
praise
it right 2 weeks ago.
The praise comes in defensive. Look at them away to City, Tottenham away without Odegaard. They've done their thing. He rolls it onto other teams. He starts rolling it onto Bournemouth. You could go down to 10 men against Bournemouth. Let's go all hands on deck. It's like he's getting carried away with some of these things, and it's funny because he's remained so balanced in you. Sorry.
No, I interrupted you. Sorry, Karen.
No, but it's funny because he remains so balanced usually. He comes across so calm and, his persona is that of a man that you feel is in control. But I feel like in his mind, he loses control with some of the praise or some of the things that are working well, and he thinks that's it now.
And that is why we can't go on a 10 to 12 game winning run. That's
100%.
That's why it's the evidence is there. It was there last year. We've done fantastically well. And when it comes to the crunch against Aston Villa, he made the decisions that cost us. He did with the game. And this is where people get the ump with him and all that. Like, you look at it yesterday as well. Maybe last season was fantastic with Kai Havertz up front because no one expected it. Now everybody knows that's
good point.
What Arsenal do. I think that you look at Fulham yesterday. They look at footage. They look at how can we stop Arsenal, and what they've done was, I tell you what, we give up all the space on the right hand side and just concentrate on defending on the left side. They worked on it and it worked. So you've got to try something different. Come up with something different. And maybe, as my mate said yesterday, the coming up with difference is we've got January the 1st coming up. You go in and get your big striker, or you go and get something that changes it up. Because I looked at Arsenal yesterday and I think we're a team that will go and maybe win 2 or 3 games, and then we'll come up against a Crystal Palace or a Brighton and we'll have another performance like that. And it might be not a defeat, and we can turn around and people go, oh, look, we're going too much into it. But it's going to come. And I think with Mikel, I'm still a big fan of his. I think that, someone said to me, oh, you wanted him out 3 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I did. I don't want him out at this moment in time. I don't, because there's things that I like what I see at times. I go to games thinking that we're going to win games, but there are now games when I'm going to that game yesterday. I'm walking along the Thames, and I'm thinking this could go this could be the end of our title today. And then when the team comes out, I'm going, what are you doing? Now, hindsight's a wonderful thing. We can win that game. Everybody goes, oh, it was a great move, like, you know what I mean? But there's too many of fans at this moment in time going, and I don't know how we all feel. When we all looked at that team sheet yesterday, did we all think, yeah, that's the right thing? I don't think that there was. I'm with a lot of Arsenal fans yesterday, and not one of them turned around and said, yes, that's the right thing to do. Everybody was concerned or had reservations about that team. You know, what is Tierney doing at this football club? I want his job. If that's what it is to be, if I want what he does, I want to go training with Arsenal, right? Yeah, and sit on the bench and do that. I want that job because you're giving someone a job that I can do. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you've got no left backs there yesterday. And play him, and if take him off after 60 minutes if it's not going. But what is he doing there? And I'm sorry, like if he's not fit enough, what is he on the bench for? I don't get that. And I'm sure he's being paid a lot of money. And I look at it and go, do you know what, Mikel? And I'm not bringing up because it's Aaron Ramsdale. You was ruthless with that. Ruthless as anything with that. You've been ruthless with Smith Rowe. You've been ruthless with Vieira. But you're not ruthless in other areas. You don't do it all the time. I love that you're ruthless at times. But be ruthless when it matters. And yes,
well, let me ask
you was not ruthless yesterday. And we lost that game because of that, not being ruthless. You know, you're right. You know, Timber's been brilliant for us. And don't get me wrong, he can play on the left. He can play left back and play anywhere across the back four. Like, you know what I mean? He's a great player. But he wasn't as effective yesterday as he has been for the last 3 or 4 games at right. He's a better right back, isn't he? Do you know why? Because I think he's got a right leg. He's got a right foot. He plays with his right foot. He's having to cut inside and all that. And there's just decisions yesterday that you know, you said it yesterday. I didn't think Jorginho was a bad option, but you've got Mourinho that can at least balance the left side a little bit better, can balance it a little bit better, and didn't do it.
And you bought the guy. You bought the guy and dragged it out as our main signing.
I know, and when he come on, he done okay, but like I get that. I just think
he actually played a lovely pass in that led to the offside goal, but he played quite a nice.
Yeah, he plays the pass
back to goal, spins. It's a lovely pass through, and you're thinking, all right, we've cut through, and I
there's just certain things you have to say, like, you know what I mean. Listen, if I've been really honest, he's probably got more right than he's wrong because we're challenging. But this is the season when I think I'm getting frustrated now with everything. I'm ready to explode on Mikel. I'm ready to explode on the players now because I know that we should be better than what we are. I put out yesterday, like, we're 4 points worse off at this stage than we were last season. If we win our next 4, we're 7 points better than what we was going into. But then you have to look at it from that January to May. We was nigh on perfect. I don't see it with this team. I
don't see it with this team.
I can see us dropping points at Crystal Palace. I can see us dropping points at Brighton because we haven't got that killer instinct, that killer bit. I see it yesterday. And it's very difficult to say, right, all right, let's fight and win tackles when you've got the ball all the time. You know what I mean? You can't, you know, we weren't in a dogfight yesterday, like, you know what I mean? Like, so sometimes make it a dogfight. You know what I mean? Like, I think there are times. It's like watching Arsenal yesterday in that first half. I might as well be watching a game of chess. But I might as well put me in a chair with thousands of people watching 2 chess players playing with a chess. You know what I mean? When is someone going to get the ball and drive in this team, pick up the ball and go past 3 players? Go past 2 players. I see that yesterday with Cole Palmer. I don't think it was great yesterday, what I've seen of the game. Everybody they were all waxing lyricals about him. I said, all right, let's have a look what he does. He don't do great in the whole game. But one thing he does is when it mattered, he got the ball and he ain't worried about playing this and playing that and playing little patterns. Went past 2 or 3 players, panic, goal. When do we do that?
I think, as Turkish said, the biggest frustrating thing as well is that I personally think Liverpool not playing this weekend was an advantage to us.
100%.
I know some people are saying it's actually an advantage to them because they now get McAllister back. They may probably for the return game get Jota back and all that. But yeah, that's true as well. But I actually think psychologically to cut the lead to 4 points, I'd rather have the points than the extra game to play. I think it was an advantage. We were giving a blessing. We were given a chance. Storm Dara said, Arsenal, I'm going to give you a little touch. Yeah, I'm going to help you out here. And we just couldn't capitalise on that. And again, I'm repeating what Turkey said earlier on, but going to that game as Arsenal, you think to yourself, surely we have to win this. If only for revenge of last year, but also we can really put it on Liverpool in terms of just putting a bit of pressure on them. And then they have to go and beat Everton whenever that game is scheduled for. Their game now is going to be in the period of the season where it's quite congested. They can't play that game until February, I reckon, at best. At best. Do you know what I mean? So, because the Christmas period is
it's
around,
February.
you got Champions League games still to play in this league in January as well. So that game can't be played until at least February. So I just think it was a bit of a blessing for us and for City. And I'm repeating again, but I think we both dropped the ball massively.
I will say something quickly. Just like Fulham are a good side. They're a very good. Not many teams are going to go up there. Their last 3 games, by the way, away to Spurs, home to Brighton, at home to Arsenal, in 3 games in 7 days, they're unbeaten. They're not a bad side, you know what I mean? Like, and in the context of everything there, we've got to go there and win. But that was it's a difficult place to go yesterday. Difficult conditions. I'm not making excuses. You've got to go there and win. I know, but they've got some decent players.
I think that's what's more frustrating, James, because I know you've been trying to come for the last couple, but I think that's what's more frustrating because you're right, Fulham are a good side, but they wasn't good on Sunday.
Bro, they weren't.
We done well in terms of nullifying everything. That's why it's more frustrating. The midfield and attack couldn't do anything when we've nullified most of their attack. Traore comes off the pitch having had nothing.
They play that way too. So I'm being horrible. They was nowhere near as expensive as they was against Tottenham, and they was nowhere near as expensive against Brighton. And I'm going to have to say that the biggest thing you can say, and if it's a compliment about whatever, Manchester United come to us and weren't expensive. They play then on Saturday, they'd be expensive, bring all their attacking players back and get stuffed. You know what I mean? When teams play against us, I do see a slightly different. Like Fulham yesterday played a different game. I was speaking to Harry, who's TalkSport, who's a Fulham season ticket holder. He turned around and said, "We have not played like that all season at home, like we did yesterday." But
Lee,
there's a reason.
This is exactly, though, why I keep mentioning quality.
Yes, I get that.
Because us, Liverpool, Man City, and I still actually think people are figuring out Liverpool in that way because Liverpool are just masters of finding space in behind, and I've got to give them so much credit for it. But like, you are going to come up against teams that will set up slightly differently. So quality matters even more. So Havertz, when he gets that half chance and he's got a sight at goal. So Jesus, when he actually does find some space in behind. So Partey, when he has got free space in the box. These moments really, really, really matter. And I think if there's one thing I'd say about Mikel Arteta, who I've been critical of in this podcast and at other times this season, I agree with what you said, Turkish. I think he will get there eventually. I think the thing I'd want him to know, and like he doesn't give a fuck what someone on a podcast thinks, but have players that are on your level, that have players that as at the level they are as a player are at his level in management. Now the reality is he hasn't won the big time, and actually neither of most of the players. Funny enough, it's actually the ones we want gone to have, but look at the group you're working with and really ask yourself, are they really the guys that are going to Ben White? Yes. William Saliba? Yes. Declan Rice? Yes. David Raya? Certainly this season? Yes. Like there are Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard? Yes, of course. But like, and I know you can't have 20 world-class players, But look at your group. Gabriel, yes. But look a lot of the key players that you still have in that team going out week in, week out, that you've actually trusted for a good 2-3 years maybe. And ask yourself, Mikel, you want to win the biggest honours. Like, of everyone at that football club, it doesn't look like it hurts anyone more than him. You saw the way he spoke on the final day when we lost to City. Like, he's the one on the touchline. He's the one doing it all. So really be ruthless. If you want this, like, look at that group and ask yourself, really, who is genuinely up to it? Genuinely up to it. Because I've made all the excuses for, well, Havertz got moved out of position and, well, Jesus had an injury. Well, I just think now it's like it's December. We're almost halfway through his 5th full season, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
There is a January window, which I wrote off as we're not doing
He's got
anything.
to do it.
Get ruthless, because you can still count some silverware. The title or not, you can count some silverware. You can make this a season in which the squad claimed something. Had the big day out, had a trophy to lift. You could do something spectacular in the Champions League. It seems unlikely, but it's there. You can do it. Like,
do something.
Please.
If they don't do anything in January, it's done. It's done, because I'll be really honest with you, boys.
And
I've seen too many of these performances now. When you turn around and say, I've seen this was happening. These performances were there last season. These performances have been there this season. So you keep having them. And listen, it's lovely when it works and it's great and all that, But as we're saying here, we might go on 4 or 5 games, but it's around the corner, one of these games. Do something different now. People have said we didn't do enough in the summer in the transfer window. Maybe we didn't. Don't make it another window. Don't make another
lads.
window.
I hate to disappoint you. We ain't buying anybody.
Well, that's it.
And we know
that's cool, but react accordingly. The fan base should react accordingly. Not it's tight in January. You can't get who you want.
If they
till the
don't,
summer.
Turkish,
fuck all that.
If they do not buy anybody in January, right, and this continues to happen, that's me. I'm checking out. I've backed and backed and backed, made excuses and whatever. But at the end of the day, if you do not deliver in January and then you don't go on and win something, then something has got to give, because it's going to be a continuous thing year in, year out. And I don't, and I'm not going overboard because it's one game and all that. That performance in the first half, I see 4 days ago at Manchester United. I've seen it a 2-half game against Newcastle. I've seen that against Brighton. I've seen it against other teams this season when for one half we don't perform. Something's got to change, boys. If you're going to go, you've got to go on a madness. Somewhere along the line, we've got to go on a madness. And I'll tell you what, if they go and buy a striker or they go and buy a wide player in January and it don't work, at least I can turn around and go, do you know what? We had a go. We tried something different. But if we carry on going the way we are with players that are not fit, not good enough, then it's on the owners and the manager.
We are going to keep it moving, but I'd go even, me, I'm further along the line of frustration and fed upness with this ownership and stuff. I go one further in January and say by the 7th to 14th of January, bring me a player. None of this fucking dilly-dally until the 31st and then seeing what you end up with. 7th to 14th, first week, second week, get a fucking player in. There's no wait until end of Jan, so then that player needs time to acclimatize. Our fan base like all of it. No excuses. Yeah? 7th to 14th of January, improve this side. Improve this side and let's see where we're at. But Monaco next. And the Champions League, we're in a strong position in the Champions League. Couple home games now that we should expect to win. Monaco and Zagreb, and then an away trip to Girona end of January. But this one comes Wednesday night, 8 p.m. At the Emirates. It's Monaco, who are not the Monaco of 6-7 years ago, who were flying and were decimated by multiple clubs across Europe. Some of their players are at the top level now doing their thing. But yeah, anyone really?
5 points on PSG.
Yeah, they're doing well this season. Yeah. I think that league's more balanced. The whole.
I'm conflicted because I'm so. Sorry, go on, James. You go.
No. So I just want this game to come and go. Keep it moving.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. I'm conflicted.
Yeah, I'm really
I wish it was a Premier League game.
I want the Champions League now, and that's my focus is now in the Champions League. But so I find it difficult to get excited about this because I'm so deflated about the fact that I think our league campaign has pretty much ended in terms of winning the title. So I don't want to say I don't care about this game because I want to win the Champions League, but yeah,
Just get the job done. Get the job done, boys.
Just get it done.
Yeah,
just get it done. Yeah.
I quite like this game because I don't think there's so much pressure on it. I know it sounds silly. I don't like if like yesterday, like you got to win it, like a draw. If we draw this game, is it the end of the world? Well, we might have an extra 2 games.
I think there is pressure though, Lee, because I think if we don't win this game, there's nothing to say that we don't then kind of go into a pre-Christmas bit of a lull, and then that affects our FA Cup game coming up. You don't get any momentum going into the Christmas program. So I don't think it's not a must win. But I think we have to not let yesterday's game derail what's going to be a very intense next kind of 4 weeks.
I don't think I don't want to see us rushing players back for this game. If
like that.
Rather have Gabriel not playing for this game and be ready for Saturday.
Yeah.
Who have we got next Saturday? What's our next Premier League game?
Everton.
Everton at home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do have this feeling of like, I opened the segment by saying, the first thing I said on this podcast, I'm kind of bored. And like, Turkish, you'll ask, and rightly so, what do we want to see? And I'm just like a bit bored of the conversation. Like, it's just like, but because I was running through my answers, and you don't want to hear what was in my head.
It's
I was
stale.
going, I'd give Sterling a start. I'm thinking,
stale.
What am I hoping to see?
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you know what? Give Lewis Skelly a debut. It's like I'm just wanting to try everyone else that basically hasn't played. I think if there's I know this is a massive contradiction, but I really like him. I said this a while back. I'd really like him to settle on his spine. Havertz and Jesus, I came to the conclusion they aren't the answer. But whoever it is, just pick him. Like, basically, if he's fit, pick Havertz for the next 10 games.
But he looks
games.
The workload.
There's
something that was right with him yesterday. Like, I'm sorry, his work rate and that wasn't. I think he needs a break. Give him.
We need a break from him. If he needs a break, we're fucked.
No, well.
But then if it's Jesus, I'm like, then play him into some form. Whoever it is, pick a guy. Rice, for me, I keep saying it's the best ball-winning midfielder in the world. I want him winning possession back in midfield. I think that's what he does best. What did we sign Marino for? And look, Partey deserves his spot in that team. But, you know what? I'm going to stop talking because I don't even know anymore. But see, I'm bored. I'm
with you.
Same Trossard or Martinelli. And I'm going Sterling because it's different. But Sterling hasn't done anything. And like, I don't even know if it's his fault really, but I'm bored of it, guys. I'm just so like the same debates about the same players. And ultimately, we know the ones we can depend on. Mm-hmm. We just know
3-1 Arsenal. Because we're all bored, James. Not of you, but we're all just bored now. You know what I mean?
We are, aren't we?
Let's get predictions.
Sorry, podcast listeners, but I'm bored of these conversations.
They're frustrated as well. Trust me, they're frustrated as well. We did the Trossard Martinelli thing literally the last show. We said should Trossard come back in? We literally did that last show. And we've probably done it. What is this, episode 27, 28? We've probably done it 18 of those 28 episodes. This is the prediction table. No one got a point. 22 games played. Jordan's in the lead, 22 points up. James is in second on 20. Lee's on 18. I'm on 17.
I nearly had it.
Was you 2-1?
Went 2-1, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Am I right in saying that you guys tried to take a point off me in the last pod? I think it was Lee was leading the campaign to get a point taken.
That sounds like Lee.
Is that correct?
No. So you
didn't
know what?
You didn't leave in your score, did you? You got to do that.
Well, nobody asked me.
No, I asked you.
You should know that. I
And
can't make the thing like
said
it's
it
my
straight
prediction.
away.
That
Yeah.
you can't predict what after everybody. You know what I mean? Like but 10-10 was
But
very
Lee,
brave of you.
Well, no. He took.
10.
No, I took the 2-0 because 10-10. He actually gets a point.
Yeah,
So
no, you can't get.
Oh yeah!
I've taken the 2-0. I've actually taken.
James, you seen this?
Signed,
They
sealed,
shed me,
delivered.
and then when it goes in my favour, oh no, we'll take your 2-0 now.
Production did that. I don't know who put that post up. They done me
I
the
want
last.
the 10-10.
They done me the
I
week
want the
before with
10-10.
Sport in Lisbon. So
I want
listen,
the 10-10.
nah, bro. Go find HR, man. Speak to Cass or Ryan or Robbie
That
or
was
someone.
funny.
This is embarrassing.
Go on, Jordan, top of the league.
3-1.
3-1 Arsenal. James.
3-0.
3-0. Lee.
2-0.
Sterling brace.
2-0. 2-0 as well. I'm not chasing Lee, I'm chasing Jordan, so
Right.
yeah, that doesn't matter there.
Big
cool.
dog.
Get your predictions in, people, not only in the comment section, but download the AFTV Plus app as well. Obviously, moving forward, you can predict all the games. If you're not part of it already, it's free to play. Comment of the day to round it off. Is everyone?
Can I go first and quick? I just got a couple. A few late shouts from a couple of weeks back. Shout out Joshua. Shout out Anthony. I do want to give a shout out also to Mikel Antonio, who we all know had a really, really bad accident on the weekend. I don't want to speculate too much about his conditions. I think I'd be a little bit crass, but it's not looking good in terms of him playing again. There's an article that's come out this morning in The Guardian saying he's going to be out for at least a year. He's 34, so I think he's probably played his last game for West Ham and possibly his last game in football. I just hope he makes a recovery that he can walk again. I'm thinking now about his health rather than his career, because I'm hearing it's a bad one. So I've done some work with him. So he's not my mate, but I've done some work with him, so I do know him a little bit. So I want to just pass on my best wishes to him.
Yeah.
And regarding the comments, there was a really good comment I saw in the last one that said all the United fans, I'm paraphrasing here, but all the United fans are calling us Stoke FC, Corner FC. Didn't the greatest moment in that club's career come from two corners?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So let's just remember that. And big up to the two people that said they missed me. I ignored the 19 that said they were glad that I wasn't on the pod. So I want to just big up the two people that said that they missed my appearance.
There are a few that missed you.
I'm not sure Ashley Waters missed you, but it's nice to see that your camera has improved. I sent him your message, and look, the camera's crisp. He's got headphones in. Like, what's going on? It's just a bit of pressure needed to be applied, and now
I know. I can't let Asher D down, man. I can't do it.
We need a top boy in here before you send Sully.
Isn't that a joke? Like, really? We've been going on about your camera, mic, everything for ever since you started.
A couple of years now, yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley Waters sends one message, and all of a sudden,
One
new camera, microphone, you're having makeup, you got your what is going on? What is actually going on? Like, you know what I mean?
Listen, I'm wearing the hat in solidarity with my Fourever brothers. I thought I'd wear a hat, join the hat crew. You know what I mean?
The powers of being a top boy, eh? Unbelievable.
That man sent for me, so I was like, "Nah, I got to come correct. I got to come correct."
If the community is wondering what the hell's going on, big up Ashley Waters, big personality, actor, musician as well. Early on,
I know him as Asher D.
Rapper.
That's how I know him. Yeah.
He's gone through Asher D, Ashley Waters, the Shane. He's gone through different stages. But listen, he's a big fan of the show, as well as the community is. So yeah, we got a message from him to improve Jordan's setup, and here we are. Hopefully he's happy.
There's a message for him. Get back another thing like Top Boy. That was good. You know what I mean? Instead of worrying about Jordan's microphone.
Get back to work.
Out, Ashley. We want some heavy stuff coming.
We're in a spin-off.
He's got a new show out. I saw.
He's got one coming out with who's a very the Scouse out. What's his name?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Tommy from Snatch.
Yes. What's his name?
Stephen Graham.
Stephen Graham.
Yes.
Bloody good actor he is as well. Like,
you know, he's
really
a very
good,
good actor. You know,
Very
he played Tommy in Snatch. He played Al Pacino in Boardwalk Empire.
Yes.
He's played.
Yes.
He was in This Is England. I think
he's an excellent actor. So like you know,
he is good. What's the program called? This is the worst plug ever.
He slagged off. He slagged off. What's going on?
Yeah, it's true. Let's move on.
Move on. Enough of Ashley.
Moving on. I've got a comment of the day. Well, yeah, I've got mine ready here. Well, it was ready. Here we are. Listen, this comment really hits home. Tendai says, have to replace Havertz. He is mediocre.
Jeez. Piercing. Jeez. To the point. James, you're up.
I didn't say it though, people, so don't get angry with me. That's just my comment of the day. Tendai, got to get on to him this time.
Wow. That's really insightful. I went for... Listen, it's going to spark a debate, which I don't think we've got time for. But Simon Marie says, Gordon's best is not better than Martinelli's best. Don't be fooled. And the reason I went for that is because A, I just found it. And B, because you know, a week ago I'd have agreed with that. I'd have gone, no, what the level Martinelli can get to, he's better or as good as Gordon. And my perception on these players has changed so much. Well, it was changing, but this Fulham game was just such a big one for me. And I look around the Premier League and I just think there are actually a lot of players that can, you know, come in and level us up. And, you know, we talked a lot about Martinelli and I tweeted about him, I spoke about him on AFTV. I kind of feel bad about it, to be honest, but I just think it's time we get ruthless about a lot of the squad. And Martinelli is not the first to be sorted or dealt with. Far from it. I still think there's loads he can offer this team. But he's one that we really held hope on. And there are others certainly higher up on that list that, yeah, we just need to really get real about now. And that's where I am. Hence my total lack of energy until I feel like we can see that kind of real big strides taken in the team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had two. One, and I've brought this one up now because, you know, Lee's annoyance at Trossard is winding me up. He did nothing wrong yesterday when coming on. Well, I think it's appropriate now. Like the proof's in the pudding why I've got the hump with him, like, you know. And also the other ones, a lot of comments about our mate Jordan, like, you know, and everything like that. Listen, I'm going to say this now. This pod would not be the same without Jordan. And I mean that sincerely. So I know that a lot of it is a joke and everything like that, but
is it?
I think that, you know, he brings... me and Jordan don't always agree, and I think that's what makes it. You know what I mean? He's completely left field at times to what I want to do. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think sometimes you need that. In you know, if everybody agrees with you and all that, like, it's like when
it's boring.
It's boring when you get. Like, I went out with my mates yesterday, and they were all got different opinions, and that's what makes the conversation very, very good. And that's why I think this pod is successful, and Jordan's a big part of that. So please give it.
I love
in
it.
The comments.
I love it, and I love you guys too. I enjoyed the pod. Like, I'm a fan of this podcast. If you guys kick me off, if Robbie kicked me off this pod, I would still watch this pod. I would still be in the comments slagging you guys off more than I probably do at the moment. But I love this podcast.
Oh, well, welcome, Curtis. It's been very good.
Began with frustration and anger, and ending with laughter. People, love for the love. There's some
frustration and anger.
I don't feel much anger.
I'm going to be so real with you. I don't feel much better at all. I'll go back to bed.
Can I ask a question?
Preview Monaco now.
Can I ask a question before we go? Maybe in the comments as well. I'm going Wednesday. I'm not looking forward to it because of what happened yesterday. I'm not looking forward to it. Is that bad or what? You know, that's how I feel. I've got no enthusiasm about going on Wednesday night. I really haven't.
You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said that though, because some fans will say, "Don't go to the game. Then we need to have you screaming and being positive at the game, or we might not win it." Because if every fan doesn't scream loud and dance and do all of that, then God help the side, because they need everything.
There's not one football fan that when that first whistle goes, you're not fully behind your team,
Of
no matter
course,
the
of
context.
course.
Tottenham fans who have been through it with some recent results, when they went 1-0 up against Chelsea yesterday, I could hear something pandemonium. In that moment, you just want your team winning and scoring goals. So of course we'll be there feeling it every step of the way. But I just think we need an injection into
Just
the
finally,
season.
I have to say this. We're coming home, we get to Victoria yesterday, and I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking, if I go to Tottenham Hale now, they're going to be all there. So I've got to just wait around for a little while just for it to ease down before I go back into Spurs territory. As we're leaving Victoria, a few of the Spurs fans are coming back, and the faces on them, it did make me feel a little slight. I know it's bad, but I think God, we're having it bad. That you know what I mean, and I can't even feel sorry for them. I just enjoy it. But some of their faces was like, you know what I mean. I thought, well, at least you scored 3 goals at home. They wanted to be entertained. I don't know what's going on. But
Lee's a prick. Lee's a prick.
I've got a little bit of satisfaction out of their misery.
As you do. People, we're going to round it off there. We've probably hit 1,000 likes. Hopefully we've hit 1,000 likes. Cheeky of me to assume we have. So make sure you check people. Our 30-minute. It's been a while since we've had a 90-minute podcast, but I think it was well and truly deserved. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Make sure you support the individual channels as well. Gooniverse, Lee Judges TV, Whisper It Loudly, Turkish LG and the Big Six. But subscribe right here, people. Monaco preview and all that to come out in the next few days. Then back to the Premier League action. December, January, you know what it's all about. 2 games every week. Well, you can't wait for me to round off my thing.
Sorry, sir. I was going to say, sorry. So that was rude again. Sorry, that was rude again. Sorry.
Thanks, Turkish mate.
Sorry.
And he just said it wouldn't be the same without you, and I agree it wouldn't be the same.
I know. That was bad manners. That was bad.
It'd be better with Curtis.